So GCB, the moose, and the candy man. Like a freight train rolling, bringing truth bombs down the line. Promoting the Southland, one week at a time. Promoting the Southland, one week at a time. SCV CHAT starts now.
Well, the guys are on the break now, don't know where they've gone to. Let's go to the kitchen and get ourselves a treat.
Ah! Was that still up? Boost! Take it down! Take it down! Take it down! Take it down! And you didn't. Good evening, everybody. Happy Confederate Memorial Month and April Fool's Day. We did our April Fool's joke earlier when we did the Carl, the guys are on the break now, Pop Tart break song. So we got that out of the way early on. We mentioned last week, late last week, that we were doing a special video for Confederate Memorial Month. We just played that. It will be available for sharing at 9 o'clock tonight. It'll automatically be posted on the page, the Facebook page. So go and check us out there. We'll try to upload it on YouTube later on. Good evening, everybody in the chat. And before we get started, the views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are not necessarily those of the SCV, its GEC, its executive director, any division brigades, camps, or other subsidiaries, strictly those of us that are expressing them. Hi, Moose.
How are you doing?
I'm great. Hey, T-Rex.
What's going on, young bucks?
You know, just I can't say what I was gonna say. So
Hey,
yeah.
y'all told me to come on. You wanted a laid back episode that was going to be fun. Here we are.
Well, I can't say what I was gonna say in response to Young Bucks because we may have gotten a censor bleep because it would have sounded
Okay.
like something else.
Yeah.
It's a great Monday.
We haven't quite figured out how to do that yet. Bleep on air. Good evening to
Okay.
Jack, Ryan, Al, William, Gerald, cousin Vinny in the chat. Keith, Walter D. Donnie Kennedy, Gerald again, Sean, CW Johnson, Pamela, David, everybody else. So yeah, for those that tuned in and didn't hear any sound, we are in our 4th year here at Chat, and we've had some great friends of the show with Southern Flags and Quilts, as well as what Sean does with Look Around Look Around Florida. The title's changed, but Look Around Florida and everything else, as well as the ways if you're not a member of the SCV. Fun fact: roughly 20% of our audience here on chat are not SCV members because they are females. Well, there are ways to be able to support the SCV without joining the SCV. So we want to make sure that we're always bringing light to things like the Friends of the SCV, the Friends of Elm Springs, and the Friends of the Confederate Museum. So we've noticed that to give our viewers some time to get in and get settled and ready, we're going to do like opening credits almost to a movie. So y'all just be used to that. Once we get enough folks in, we're going to do that. Sadly, I know that we have broadcasted that Thomas Franklin would be here with us tonight. Thomas has been spending some time at the penal farm for bootlegging and processing false pork byproducts. And while he did get out early to be on the show, he found out that J-Beau was going to be on, and while he loves J-Beau to death, he knows that he won't be able to get a word in edgewise.
Well, this goes back to when Commander McClooney was in office, and we tried to get poor Thomas on, and our past commander-in-chief went over his time just a smidge, and Thomas just felt utterly insulted. And so anytime now a commander-in-chief comes on, he says that he just won't be on the show. He actually what's the term I'm looking for? He protests the show. He won't even watch our show. Boycott. Yeah, he boycotts our show. He won't be on the show tonight or be watching it tonight.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I hate that. He's a great American. He's a great Southerner. I wish he was here. You know, there's no need for him to boycott over me. You know, he needs his spot. You know, Thomas Franklin, he needs his spot. I would happily just sit here and listen to that mountain of knowledge. He is a fountain of wisdom. He is a pest dispenser of spam. I mean, this guy is it, and this is who we need to be listening to. So I wish he was here.
So do I. And
James Martin, that is a good point.
Just a week late.
Yeah. But also I don't think that his release from the Yoknapatawpha, I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing that correct, county that he's been incarcerated with, is I don't think it was a real incarceration. I think it was you know, he kind of escaped, but thoughts and prayers.
Well, he is the kind of man that knows how to disappear. That's for sure.
Right.
Now, I
Right.
seen stuff pop up at the bottom. I can't read that. So, what's Carl saying?
Carl says a Pez dispenser of spam. I want one of those.
Yes. Okay.
Wouldn't that be
Okay.
For those that are tuning in, this is your first episode of Chat. We are usually not this silly. We're a little bit more serious on what we present, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But we're it's April Fools. We're having a fun time letting our hair down, because the South is a bastion of comedy and laid backness. So
Yeah.
that's a big word.
But isn't the Son of Harrold Filpots still coming on tonight? I know he's running late.
Yes. Well, we'll talk about the Son of Harrold Filpot later on when we talk about the legacy of Harrold Filpot. Much later.
Okay.
So
So
anyway,
the sun is coming on.
the Son is so he is Canadian Orthodox, which is a very, very small denomination, and I think they started Lent 2 weeks ago. So he's in the middle of Lent, and it's like a mixture of Ramadan and a mixture of Lent. It's weird. He has to wait till like 8 o'clock for his Pop-Tart, and he won't come on until he's had his Pop-Tart. So
Okay.
For those who don't know, the Son of Harrold Filpot was supposed to be on the show many moons ago, and he called me personally to tell me that even though he was going to get on at 7:30, he can't because in 5 minutes was his Pop-Tart break from the world. So what he does at 7:35 every night, and this was my phone call in the middle of the show. You can go back and see my reaction to it. It's priceless. Is he unplugs everything in his house and he sits down and eats a Pop-Tart. And after he eats the Pop-Tart, he just sits there relaxed and tries to unplug from life, which is a pretty good goal considering how much technology is all in our lives a bit too much. But it's been hard to get him on the show because of that.
Yeah. And I've been. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Connor.
I was just going to say, Carl, you're right. The Saskatoon Firdom Fiefdom Camp did have their annual snow cone fundraiser last week in the middle of a blizzard. So,
yes.
Poor Canada.
Yeah.
Isn't his camp the only SCV camp we have in Canada?
I don't know if we classify it as a camp. I think they just call themselves a camp.
They're members. They're loosely scattered. They're loosely affiliated. They kind of get together and, yes. But they're not an official camp. So
why wouldn't they just get together and make a camp then?
Well, they have to go to meetings in the snowmobiles, and some of them are as many as 600 miles away from each other, and it's just kind of hard to get everybody together once a month.
Yeah.
Or even once a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
So they have a snow cone festival in the winter. Yeah, they say it keeps them from having to make ice.
Just don't eat the yellow snow cones.
Okay. Well, that's words of wisdom. Yes.
It's not lemon flavored.
Wait, what's that quote? I found a book cover the other night that was just cracking me up. I got to see if I can find this again. So, Be something somebody wants. And other words of wisdom from the 77th Commander-in-Chief, Jason Boshears.
Yeah. Well, you know, there is some words of wisdom in that. Be something somebody wants before somebody wants you. I mean, if nobody wants you, you got to be something somebody wants, you know? Yeah. I tell you, I'm going to jump on off in some business real quick because I want to mention this before we dilly dally and get off on something else. About 15 minutes before we started, Florida Division Commander Calvin Hart called me. And Calvin has had the most brilliant idea. He's been working on a cemetery down there, and they have been working with the city on making it a historical spot, a historical place. And he just simply asked, why doesn't the SCV do something like that? And, you know, why doesn't General Headquarters, Sons of Confederate Veterans, recognize locations, places, monuments as historical places? And I told him, I said, well, I know the reason why it hasn't been done. It's nobody's thought of it. I have never thought of that. That's the kind of thinking that we need. That is a brilliant idea. And that is something that I can fall behind. Now, let me ask you a question. And this is the question that Calvin put out there to me was, would it mean more to you to get a plaque, certificate, something like that? That is, let's just say it's a plaque and let's say it's for a cemetery. Would it mean more to you to get a plaque from the General Headquarters, Sons of Confederate Veterans, recognizing this cemetery that you're taking care of as a historic site? Would you rather have it from the Sons of Confederate Veterans or from your local municipality? That is a legitimate question, and y'all two answer it.
Why not both? And why just limit it to cemeteries? Because there are.
Well, we're not limited to cemeteries. That was just a hypothetical. It could be parks, it could be monuments, it could be anything that is worth historically noting. I mean,
you know, and I'm going to get off on a little bit of a soapbox on it. I mean, and I'm going to paraphrase what the website says and kind of what the video said earlier. You know, the Confederate soldier is, and us too, as modern Confederates, you know, their descendants, we're you know, loyal, patriotic citizens, and we deserve our rights of equal protection under the law, just like anybody else's history and heritage. So why should the municipalities refuse us in the first place? Now, given the woke culture that we find ourselves in, yeah, I would be all for like a national Confederate registry of historic places. Yeah, there are a lot of, I can think of 3 locations right now that besides headquarters that deserve it. You know, that aren't just that have 2 of them have cemeteries connected to them. But yeah, and especially if we're talking about building a network of Confederate friendly sites, like we have been with the museum and things like that, I think it behooves us to do it. It would be stupid not to do it.
Yeah. Well, I kind of, when he mentioned it, and he was already to the point that he was talking about what it was for, it really dawned on me what he was talking about, because my mind's never worked in that way. But Calvin brought it up. I think it's a great idea. I can't read the chats to see what everybody's saying about it in the chats, but I think it's a brilliant idea. It's something that I can definitely get behind, and just say, you know, General Headquarters recognizes, you know, General Headquarters, Sons of Confederate Veterans recognizes the Raymond Cemetery as a national historic site. And that way, you know, sometimes with these municipalities and these other, you know, you get involved with these other historical organizations, they have a tendency to want to hamstring you with red tape. What I mean by that is you have to go through a procedure to do it. And then let's just say that you have a fence around a cemetery and you want to repaint the fence. You have to get permission to do it.
Right.
Whereas if you just had this from the Sons of Confederate Veterans, all we want you to do is maintain the property, you know? So you're not going to have to come to us and say, look, we had a tree fall and, you know, we're going to have to replace a section of fence. You know, we need permission to do it. No, you just do it. I kind of like the idea of keeping entities out of our business, and I understand what you're saying that, hey, why can't we have all of it? But how about we just take care of ourselves?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I am with it.
Yeah. So a lot of people are saying that they're in favor of it. Well, first, David Pope raised a very good point that a registry of this type would be helpful for Confederate tourism. You know, that there's a lot of our members who, myself included, try to, when we take a trip, you know, stop at as many, you know, sites as possible. Adam says, Adam Southern, executive director, who had a wonderful morning at headquarters. And for those 100 who are now life members, welcome to the club. You do not have that much options on logo merchandise. Just going to go ahead and throw that out there. Are we talking about just Confederate sites or historic sites? And I would dare to say that, I'm going to put words in Adam's mouth, but Southern cultural historic sites.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to limit it. You know, if an SCV count was to somehow come in control of a Revolutionary War battlefield, War of 1812, something, then yes, we need to be recognized because that is our history as well. I just started with the Confederates because that's where we are with this. But it would be all historic sites. You know, you have cemeteries that, you know, one of them I was talking with Calvin that I've worked on. Nobody's been buried there since 1911. It's cemeteries full. Nobody's been buried there since 1911. It is a very historic cemetery. Revolutionary War, War of 1812. That one is one that the Sons of Confederate Veterans, I would think, would be one they would want to recognize. And yes, it has its fair share of Confederates buried in it as well. You know, but what if you take another cemetery that has a monument in it? Well, we need to recognize the cemetery, recognize the monument. I think the possibilities are kind of endless on this. I don't want to put us in a box and say we're only going to do this. I want us to you know, to come. But I just, when Calvin was talking about it, it was a brilliant idea, and thank goodness he brought it up. I think that's a great thing, and I think that we ought to do our own. Sons of Confederate Veterans ought to be able to recognize historic sites because we are a historic organization. Then we make a plaque, and they can put a plaque saying the Sons of Confederate Veterans recognizes the Raymond Cemetery in Raymond, Mississippi, the Confederate Cemetery in Raymond, Mississippi, as a historic site.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's a great idea, Calvin. And I'm giving Calvin all the credit. He was the one that come up with the idea, and it was brilliant. But I wanted to mention that before we got too far into anything else. And then you mentioned the life members. We were sold out in 30 minutes. I was up there answering the phones as well. We had a full staff. Everybody was there. You know, we normally have everybody there on Wednesday. We moved everybody till today, Monday, and we had a full staff there. And I never hung the receiver up. From the time we started and we started answering, as soon as I took down the information and hung up with who I had talked to, phone was ringing or was still ringing, and it was ringing in all of the offices. And I just went from one to another. And I want to thank everybody that called in. I want to thank everybody. You know, they put out a message that if you left a message between 9 a.m. Central Time and 9:30 Central Time, that they will get back with you, and they will. At when we finished, Eric Pavetti checked his voicemail, and he had 205 voicemails. So in a 30-minute time frame, there were 205 missed calls, but all of us were on the phone. All of us were. And then by the time I left, it was nearly 300 people that were still calling in. So I want to thank everybody and congratulations to all of those that got a life membership.
That is fantastic.
What are you grinning about, Connor?
Nothing. Just reading the stuff.
All right. Well, I can't see the comments, so.
I was just gonna say, of course, they're gonna wait till after I've already paid off my life membership, and Moose has paid off his to do it.
Yes, that was intentional. We decided to exclude y'all out of it. If you want to get your feelings hurt over it, y'all just go right ahead.
Well, I try to be like a certain short person. I know that his feelings don't get hurt. So,
yeah, that's the great thing about having your life member. And I want to reiterate, because I didn't get to tell everybody this morning because we were going through the calls so quick. I didn't get to tell everybody, but when you have a life member, that is just a national life member. You still have camp dues. You still have division dues. And, that sometimes people think, well, I've got a life member. I don't have to pay dues anymore. No, it's just a national life member. You're still going to have to become I know Tennessee Division has a life member. Now the camp I'm in, we don't have a life member in the camp. So you have to pay camp dues every year. But I know some camps have a life member. So thought that I would remind everybody of that. Just because you have a life member of national and you got it today, you're still going to have to pay division and camp dues.
Yeah, and remember, if you're a life member in a division that has division life memberships, like here in Mississippi, and I'm seeing that Florida does, and Missouri does, everything like that in Tennessee, I think most divisions do. If you transfer out of that division, your life membership does not in the division does not transfer with you.
That is correct. It does not. That is correct. It does not transfer. And if you leave camps, let's say you're in a camp and you're a life member of a camp and you transfer camps, your membership moves, but you're not a life member of the camp that you move into. So just thought I'd throw that out there as well. I didn't mean to get off on business, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned that deal because I think Calvin had a brilliant idea, and then you mentioned life members, and I just want to thank HQ because everybody was there. Everybody answered the phone except for Cindy, and Cindy was processing everything. So she, everybody was answering phones and she was processing everything. So it was, as they say, an all hands on deck. It was, everybody was there, and at 9 o'clock we were ripping. So I want to thank everybody for participating, and congratulations to all of those who got their life member.
Yeah. And the only way that I knew that it was over with until I saw the Facebook post was that I got a message from Adam about something totally unrelated, and I messaged him back and said, "Hey, buddy, don't you have to be selling life membership?" And he said, and this was like at 10:30. He said, "We got done with that an hour ago."
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah, we were done. Yeah, it went quick. It went very quick. And like I said, I never put the receiver down. Once the first call come in, it just went from call to call, and it was that way for everybody. I was in the office with Pravetti, and he was trying to talk where we didn't talk over each other, because it's you don't want to get numbers confused and membership IDs and all of that confused. So, but it went well, and it's I think it had been 6 years since it had happened before. So, and a lot of people have asked about it. and it happened again. So now we can get back to the usual shenanigans.
Well, while we're talking about business, I am kind of glad that you brought it up a little bit more serious in, because we're still waiting on the Son of Harrold Filpots to come on. But we this past week, y'all may have seen a little bit of uptick in our posting here on chat. I've hit kind of the little bit of the stale time at my work, so I'm able to focus a little bit on this end. Hope y'all are enjoying what we're doing as far as trying to share out camp news and stuff like that as we're seeing it. Just as a reminder, though, that our Thursday show, Look Around the Confederation with Moose, if you have camp news, division news, brigade news, any news, and you want to see it featured on the show, send it to scvyouthOutreach@gmail.com with your pictures and a write-up. But they have to be, and this is a key thing, have to be submitted before 3 p.m. Confederate Daylight Time, Central Daylight Time, to make sure that we can get it. We can download it off the email and upload it in here. We've got everything spelled, so Moose can look up how to pronounce these places, or ask me how to pronounce them so he can do that. So make sure that you're doing that. Any stories from the week that we miss, that we can't cover because they've come in late, or we just don't have time for them, we'll be posting them independently on Facebook.
Okay.
Also, some great news. As of today, scvchat.com is back live, and I'm asking that everybody sends in their Confederate Heritage Month events so they can be posted on our calendar. Our calendar is only available for SCV, OCR, UDC, Heritage Organization members. So if you're going to sign up for that, we'll need some information, just your SCV number, camp, division, stuff like that. So make sure you sign up today, and check out our new website. I spent a good bit of time revamping it. Some things are the same, some things are very different. So make sure you go to www.scvchat.com.
Also, y'all may have seen this a time or two. We are on Patreon. Patreon is a crowdfunding website to where you, the chat heads, can help support the show, help the show grow, things like that. Think of it as your online tip jar. You can go to patreon.com/scvchat. There were two gentlemen who signed up for the free version earlier this weekend. That option's been taken away. With that option, you wouldn't have seen any of the posts and things like that. It's just $10 a month. It'll help us improve, get better equipment, get better, internet access, remove Santa Claus from Moose's background, things like that. A portion of the proceeds will be going to the museum annually, and things like that. So just $10 a month, patreon.com/scvchat. You are getting when you become a member, some things after your first 3 months of continuous support. You get a little sticker that's specific to our real chat heads. That's the only place you can get it. And as we create things like this video we started the show with, that'll be available for sharing at 9 o'clock, our Patreon viewers got to get early access to that Friday once we got done editing and producing it. So, if you want early access and as well as a little bit of one-on-one interaction with us, you can get that through Patreon. I don't know why you'd want one-on-one access to us, but it's there.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing. Go ahead, Moose.
Oh no, you go.
I just want to say it's a good thing. It gives everybody an opportunity to participate, and you are actually contributing, and you're getting these guys where they can get some good equipment. And let me tell you, equipment is not cheap, and good equipment is even more expensive.
Yeah.
So,
Ron Kennedy, you cannot use Patreon as a one-time donation. It sets it up as, at least I've not been able to figure out how to. It's a monthly thing. If you want to do a one-time $120 donation, talking about our channel, We do have a PayPal that we can, do it with. So yeah.
You also get a surprise new result if you become a Patreon member. You'll be seeing that at the end of the show, though. I don't want to spoil it too much, but you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a special thing that only our Patreon members will be getting.
Oh, and potentially there may be the Patreon does it in tiers, so there may be a tier where some merch may come out sometime in the near future.
It'll be a picture of Connor's face, and dragons will be attacking him from above and stuff. Man, it's gonna be looking cool.
And it's like on black velvet, kind of like those Elvis paintings from back in Jason's day.
Hey man, don't you make fun of the Velvet Elvis.
I'm not.
That was the stuff back in the day, man. If you had a Velvet Elvis and some incense, you had a party.
Hey, don't we have like a velvet painting of John Bell Hood at headquarters?
Don't judge us.
I'm not.
Don't judge us.
I'm not. We need to have a 70s throwback show.
Yes.
But neither of us would have been alive, so.
If you're talking about like a specific time, my father wouldn't have been alive.
Oh, y'all young bucks always still have spots.
I actually plucked a gray hair the other day.
Oh.
Yep.
You'll get used to it.
Hey, listen, as long as I age like you and I don't age like Adam, I'll be happy.
Okay.
I mean,
that was kind of brutal. Poor old Adam.
If I can look like a younger, alive, pre-plastic surgery Kenny Rogers, and not look like Adam, I'll be happy.
See, I don't mind if I go gray by my 30s as long as I keep my hair. I really don't want history to repeat itself like it did with my father.
I was gray in my 30s, and it's no big woo. Life moves on.
Adam says, I have a hot wife. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some humble brags happening on the chat tonight.
Yes.
I think Kayla's probably watching with him, and she's seeing Jason on here, so she's already itching at the trigger finger, and Adam's just the closest target, so he had to say something.
Yeah, because she wanted to shoot me at the cemetery tour that time, and as we all know, Kayla hates me. So
yeah, I went back and rewatched the second Chat Head dinner. When I was making the SCV Chat website, I added a award section, and I was going through it, just seeing all the awards that Jason won. He's really racked them up here at SCV Chat. And there's one award that he wanted. Actually, I think it's the Son of Harrold Filpots award, ironically. But it is. And you could see in the live video, Jason look at Kayla and say, "Give me your crown, I'll give you the T-Rex." And she just looks at him. There's pure disgust and anger in her face towards Jason. She said,
no, you cannot have my tiara.
I ain't saying a thing because I thought she was going to shoot me at the tour, so I'm not going to say a thing. Yeah.
She still wants to shoot me, so I'm going to be nice and quiet.
I mean, the murder at the Catfish College is not something we need in the newspapers.
The Catfish College, okay? Yeah.
You'll have to promise me that you bring back the moose chalices if Kayla kills me. Keep my name alive.
Oh, we'll bring back the moose chalice. I got to start working on the awards for this year national reunion.
I text you at like 2 a.m. about one of them.
I don't remember.
Really? You?
Oh yeah. The Cross Bachelor Award.
Yeah, we already know who's going to win that one.
Yeah.
All right. So have we heard anything from the Son of Harrold Filpots?
Let me check my phone. I actually haven't checked my phone.
And are we sure Thomas Franklin isn't coming on? Because I'll get off here if Thomas Franklin will come on. I mean, I don't want him to boycott this because of me. Thomas Franklin is. Come on, man.
It's not because of you as more as it's because you're commander in chief. He has a distaste for all commander in chiefs ever since Commander in Chief McClooney wouldn't let Thomas speak.
Well, he can come on. I missed him at the national reunion last year. I understand that he was there, but he was there, wasn't it, a week early?
No, that was 2 years ago now.
Yeah, it was at when you were elected commander in chief. He was there because we've got a picture of y'all together.
Yes, yes.
And he made those wonderful campaign signs. Vote for J-Beau, FER. He's hungry for our heritage, and it's a picture of you in mid-bite at the Heritage Luncheon.
Yeah.
Anyway, Thomas didn't know that the business session was that week. So he,
Well, I kind of, I was looking forward to seeing him. I met him at one time at National Reunion, and he gave me a can of Spam, and then he gave me 2 cans of Vienna sausage. Yeah. And, I mean, the man knows how to eat. And I thought, well, let's, and I was looking forward to talking to him tonight.
He told me it's nothing personal. There's nothing personal against you. He'll talk to you once you get out of office. He even wanted to vote for you for commander in chief. Is the funny thing. He campaigned for you.
Yeah. Well, I was looking forward to talking with him tonight, listening to him, because the man's he's a good speaker, and very well educated, very well informed. And then of course, the Son of Harrold Filpots, we need him. We need him. I mean, we all know what an asset Harold was, his daddy, Mr. Philpott. We all know that the asset that he was. And it's
look, it is hard to be a door-to-door traveling piano salesman.
Yeah,
but he does it.
Well, I'm talking about Harold Sr. I mean, for him in the 1940s to go door to door with full-size Steinway piano in tow. Ma'am, do you need a new piano in your house?
Yeah.
And then sit out there on the sidewalk and play a little bit of it, and then to be told no, and then have to go to the next one. And then I mean, much of a man.
Yeah.
Oh, he did it.
And and him driving all around the U.S. and all of those old international flatbed pickups where he could have the different pianos on there, from the grands to the baby grands, and and then demonstrate, because the guy could play everything, and he was just an asset. And I've never been able to catch his son and to meet his son, and I want to meet the Son of Harrold Filpots. So, but I can't imagine driving around, in the Depression and after World War II, and an old flatbed International demoing pianos for people. But he did it.
And the really thing that, talking about the 70s, there when he was getting close to retirement, which he never did retire because of what ended up happening. He traded in that flatbed truck for El Camino. He wanted to specialize in the baby grands, and he had that El Camino with that baby grand in the back. He ended up hitting a bump, and the El Camino snapped in half.
Is that what happened?
That's what happened, and that's why he never retired, because he had to pay off the El Camino and the piano.
Wow. All I heard was there was a freak accident that happened. I never knew any of the details on it. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what El Camino means, don't you?
Can't decide between a truck or a car?
The Camino.
Huh?
The Camino.
Yeah. Yeah. I just figure it was anybody who couldn't make a decision, that whole thing where they have the haircut short in front and have a mullet in the back, business in front, party in the rear. I just kind of thought that was what El Camino stood for.
Well, I'm just happy I'm getting to learn about them, because again, this is way before my time, but it really.
It's before my time. All I've done is heard the stories for years. So go ahead.
I mean, I heard about a couple of them while, of course, I'm digging into Dr. McCain's past, another big SCV member, and kind of getting on this kick of learning SCV history, honoring our history as well. And he and McCain are just two of those members that will stand the test of time.
Well, McCain
was.
It's
funny you mentioned that.
Go ahead, Commander.
All right. Well, you're talking about McCain. McCain being on the executive council for so long and being such a critical day-to-day player. Y'all have gone up there. You've gone through all of the paperwork. Dr. McCain, all those filing cabinets. Dr. McCain is all the way through those. Harrold Filpot was the man behind all of that. He was never out front. He was never the guy that was out there. But the men who were the ones out there always gave credit to Harrold Filpot. This man did this. He contributed this. He's the reason why we have this. He was the one. I don't know if he was an idea guy, but he was also a worker. And he made all of that stuff happen. And and he's been a mystery for so many people because there's not a lot of documentation on it. But the big men of the General Executive Council were the ones that talked about him. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so when my dad was commander-in-chief during past Commander-in-Chief Barrow's administration, is when I learned about Harrold Filpots, because Harrold would not send a letter. He sent Western Union telegrams. And his son still to this day will not send a letter. He will not send an email. He sends Western Union telegrams. His communication, he'll send a text message, but that's about it.
Yeah, he'll text me. He'll sometimes call. It's very rare.
Yeah, but the communications between Dr. McCain and Harrold Filpots, I've got copies of them in the stuff that came out of the old SCV office in Jackson that I'm going to turn into the headquarters at some point.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of those.
Calvin Hart said that he heard that the son of Harrold Philpot, once sold a piano to Jerry Lee Lewis, the killer. That is a common myth. He didn't sell it to that Jerry Lee Lewis. It was a different Jerry Lee Lewis, more like they shared the same name and they were both from Faraday, Louisiana, but they were about 10 years apart. This guy didn't marry his 14-year-old cousin. He wasn't known as the killer, but he was known as the aggravated assaulter.
I thought that that was at that J.L. Lewis that was down there. That was the barber. I didn't know that he was an assault. He was that J.L. Lewis that supposedly sold that Harrold Filpot sold that piano to. And from what I understand, it was a baby grand, and they played it in the barber shop. And it was in that barber shop down there for years.
I had no idea. Speaking of which, GCB mentioned that he has all this lovely McCain stuff. I wonder if there's anybody you could send that to before you sent it to headquarters that maybe, I don't know, might be researching McCain, anybody you just know.
I've gone through it, and it's nothing biographical. It's nothing that'll help you with that. It's strictly records of the organization. Some light correspondence, like a letter from Mississippi. He turned out to later be governor, but at the time he was House of Representatives member John Bell Williams, who was a very close personal friend to my late grandfather. My dad actually went to high school with Governor Williams' son. Anyway, it's on his congressional letterhead, writing Dr. McCain, thanking him for his membership card, that sort of stuff. Letters between adjutants and things like that. Old camp rosters for camps that are now defunct. That sort of stuff.
Yeah. I didn't know that there were letters between the two men. I knew that they knew each other, and but I never knew that that they actually corresponded with each other. But I never met him. Harold Philpot was no longer on this earth by the time I got involved in the SCV, and I have yet to see his son. I've heard the stories of his son and the things that his son does, but I have yet to meet the man. And it'd be nice to actually get him on there. I'm assuming he hasn't come on yet. Right now we're getting almost at 8:00. We're 20 minutes past the Pop-Tart break, and I was really hoping that he was going to come on. He was supposed to come on one time, and just as we were bringing him on, we had all those technical difficulties, and it shut us down. Y'all remember that time that server crashed on us and we went completely down? So yeah,
there's only one or two times that's happened to us fully to that extent.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was because of Disney. The other one, I don't know what happened, but we saw the Son of Harrold Filpots for maybe a split second. I haven't got to see a clear picture of him yet. J-Beau doesn't know this, but Connor does, because we have the producer settings on for us on our platform. But, when we see y'all load in and y'all come in kind of blurry for a minute, then y'all clear up. I've only seen the Son of Harrold Filpots blurry, but I have talked to him on the phone again just one time. I haven't talked to him since. He called me to apologize for not being able to be on the show because of his Pop-Tart break. It's funny because I don't know how to describe his accent. I really don't.
Canadian.
It's Canadian, but it's like different than the rest of Canadian accents. It's got like a bit of Southern in it.
Yeah, it's like you take the Virginia Tidewater accent and throw A in there and a boot and a couple other small Canadian things.
I heard that I heard he calls everybody buddy and friend. How you doing today, buddy? How you doing today, friend? I've never met. Now I got his phone number and I sent him a text, and he has never responded. And somebody told me he never responds to text. So if y'all, I heard one of y'all say earlier that he responded. He has yet to call me. He's yet to respond to anything. I understand that that's just his nature, but I'm also understanding that he is an extremely busy man, and and like his daddy, he's on the road all the time.
He likes his Western Union telegrams.
Now, have you tried to telegram him?
No, I've never sent a telegram to anybody. Every time I think about telegram, I think telegram from Mongo. I don't think about anything like that.
I don't think Harrison gets that reference.
I don't. I really don't.
Telegram from Mongo.
Mm-hmm.
Mongo only phone in Game of Life.
I think y'all have had enough beans.
More beans, Mr. Taggart?
Yeah.
All right. So I do have a text message from the Son of Harrold Filpot. And it's very short. He doesn't text. I mean, again, he apologized for not coming on, but his son, the grandson of Harrold Filpot, thought that his webcam looked like a dog toy, So he gave it to the family dog Rufus, and he has destroyed the Son of Harrold Filpots webcam.
Wow. Okay.
Apparently, it's his youngest child. I don't know the age though. I don't know how many kids the Son of Harrold Filpots has.
I heard 14.
14?
14 kids. Yes.
My gosh.
Now, and the thing, Harold Philpott only had one child, and that was the son of Harold Philpott.
Yeah, just
now the son of Harold Philpott, I'm told, has 14 children. 6 of them are boys.
Yeah, and he kind of did like George Foreman, where it's, George, Georgia. It's the son, or the grandson, numbered 130, whatever.
Oh,
Okay.
wait, he's calling me. 1 second.
Okay. Wow. It's going to be good if we can get him on. I really want to hear what the man's got to say. So. I have the comments been pretty good. I haven't very many. Y'all only popped up a couple along the bottom. I didn't know if anybody was even paying attention or watching tonight.
Yeah, Tom Vernon thinks that we can entice him to come on with a box of Pop-Tarts, and we probably could. Daniel Paul thinks that the son of Harold Philpott is related to Adam Southern, but I don't know it. Joe C. Moore says it's Twu.
Oh yes. Lily von Stupp. Yes, she said that. Yes.
13's my limit on Schnitzelgruben.
But yeah, y'all mentioned Telegram, and Telegram for Mongo is the only thing that come to my mind. I've never used Western Union.
Even then, it was a Candygram.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was Candygram for Mongo. Yeah.
Carl says that he'll never forget Harold's last words to him, which were, he said, "Son, never buy a pig in a poke." Carl was young and didn't understand the significance at the time, but he does now.
Okay.
All right, time out real quick. I just got off the phone with him. It's kind of hard to understand him, but he said that, he's sorry that, his son, the grandson of Harold Philpott, has done this. He would love to reschedule, but sadly, he's a chairman of a special event in Canada that's going to be happening for the next couple weeks. And it's a festival celebrating wives whose feet are bigger than their husbands. And he just feels like he's obligated to show up for that.
The wives' feet are bigger than the husbands.
It took me a second. I asked him about 3 times for clarification because I just didn't believe it. But he is the chair.
I thought that was called the Sasquatch Sweetheart Dance. No, I thought that's what that was called.
He changed the name. He felt like it was a bit too barbaric. So
okay,
he is the chairman of the event, and he feels like he's obligated to show up to it. But yeah, it's a 2-week celebration, I think he said, in Canada, where they celebrate the fact that their wives' feet are bigger than theirs. And they all come together. They all get barefooted and just walk around the grounds and play games and pie eating contests. When you step on the grapes for the wine, there's also a contest for that. See who can do it the quickest. He told me a couple others, but he was speaking so fast and it was kind of hard to understand him. But he said he'll have to do a rain check on that.
Okay.
He's supposed to be down here in June. He's supposed to be keynote speaking the Gulf South Institution of Taxidermy's ladies' graduation. So maybe we can get him for that.
Yes, that's going down, and it's down. Yeah, that's way down in the Gulf. Yeah, that's way down in Alabama. Yes.
Will y'all be close to that event? Because I'd love to just get a picture of them.
We won't be because it's the same weekend as Mississippi Division reunion.
Yeah. Yeah, that is it actually starts Friday and runs through the next Saturday. It is a 8-day event. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm going to miss all of that. So yeah.
Yeah, especially because Linda is a distinguished graduate of the Gulf South Institution of Taxidermy.
Nobody is supposed to know that. How did you know that?
We've had conversations about it.
Okay.
After reunion, usually.
It's really fun to watch her field dress a water buffalo. I know that.
Well, we didn't, but I mean, me and Linda did down at the 4th Brigade picnic, where there's a picture of you and your arms look proportional.
I noticed that. Somebody sent me that, and it kind of hurt my feelings because I'm not supposed to be proportional.
You're supposed to have them little T-Rex arms that cross over that pot belly.
See, it's supposed to be like this, but everything looked like it was in proportion.
Oh,
yeah, you look normal.
Yeah, I look normal. That bothers me. I'm not supposed to look normal. My first name ought to be Abby, middle name Normal.
Is the Son of Harrold Filpots coming to a reunion this year? I know when it's a bit in like kind of the Army of Northern Virginia, he tries to come. It's a bit closer.
If he's going to be down for 10 days down in Alabama a month before that, I don't know if he's going to be coming to Charleston. See, look at that. Those arms actually look somewhat in proportion. Now they're still on my big old belly, but they look a little proportional.
He looks like he's watching an SCV CHAT episode.
Is that what I look like watching it?
Uh-huh.
I've heard things.
I'm never there when you watch it.
I never know what I look like, and all of a sudden I'm hearing I'm proportional and normal. That's bothersome. Yeah.
Yeah. Crap.
So for those that are still following on, we did warn you that it was going to get deep. For those of y'all that are first-time viewers, we're normally a lot more serious. Really quickly, speaking of serious, we are going to take a little bit of a break to plug a certain place in Central Tennessee really quickly that you can help support, and you don't have to be a member of the SCV to help support it. First, you can help support and help preserve historic Elm Springs by joining the Friends of Elm Springs. Membership ranges from $25 to $1,000, and each level has various benefits. All proceeds go to the restoration and maintenance of the Elm Springs home. You do not have to be a member of the SCV to join. Email exedir@scv.org for more information, or go to scv.org and find the application to join. Or you can help become a friend of the museum. Again, various membership levels from $25 to $1,000 and have various benefits. Membership in both organizations are tax deductible, and you get an electronic newsletter. Proceeds go to the museum, and you do not have to be a member of the SCV to help.
Yeah. And thank you for bringing a little seriousness into the conversation. Just so everybody knows, they asked me to come on because they needed some shenanigans.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When J-Beau finishes, play the commercial. I gotta step away for a second.
All right, which commercial? All right.
Well, I guess you get to pick which one. Yes, I'm thankful that you did bring some seriousness into it. I know I talked about some business earlier. We're generally not this silly, but this being April Fool's, and I'm not going to be on Commander's Comments. As you know, this coming Thursday is Commander's Comments, and there's been a scheduling conflict, and I think that they're going to have Tom Wood that's going to be coming on.
Mr. Roy is coming on this.
Oh, Roy Hudson. Okay. Yeah. So Roy Hudson is going to be coming on. He's going to be on Thursday. Now, we were talking about scheduling it for next Thursday, which would be the 11th. And I'm not going to be able to do that. because I'm going to be speaking at a camp in South Carolina. Then I'll be going to the South Carolina Division reunion. So I'm looking forward to that. So thank you for bringing some seriousness in. Stop some of the shenanigans. It was getting a little out of hand. So even for us, play the commercial.
All right.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost, stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
Boy, how the museum has changed since that commercial was cut.
Yes.
But changed in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's only
Yep.
Well, what I was getting up to do is grabbing my notepad list to talk about a little bit of business. You kind of already mentioned it with some of it. For those that are still listening, with it being Confederate Heritage Month, normally we try to break out into all facets of Southern history. Unless it's like April Fool's Day, then we try to joke around and laugh a little bit. But on this month's lineup, next week, we will be doing a episode defending Stonewall Jackson. A couple of days ago, I think it was the Confederate Veteran Group on Facebook, it may have been Monuments Across Dixie, shared a lovely image of a, I guess it was a medal that was done for a day that they dedicated a monument to Stonewall Jackson. And there were a bunch of our detractors in that comment thread that, of course, were spouting off their outright lies and hatred to General Jackson. And, they were trying to bait those people on there. But those that who are of our persuasion, I think that's a nice politically correct way to say that.
Good job.
Those of us who are right, that's the correct way to say it. Sorry. Tried to defend Jackson, but we're gonna do it here on chat on the 8th, which is next Monday. The 15th, tax day. Moose and I are gonna do a little bit of first person on why Confederate heritage is important to us. On the 22nd, we're going to do a reaction video to, we haven't picked the video yet. We'll be doing that within the next couple of days. And if you are on Patreon, if you're one of our patrons, we'll let you know what it is. We'll send a link to that video so you can watch as well, and you can give us your insight, and we'll reference those insights in that video on the 22nd. And then, of course, on the 29th, we have Adam coming on, talking about the greatest things at the museum. as well as looking forward to talking about the AOT workshop that will happen during the pilgrimage to headquarters, the Southern Heritage Center at Historic Elm Springs and the National Confederate Museum at Historic Elm Springs and Historic Elm Springs. Did I get that right? Somewhat.
Yeah.
In the ballpark.
Yeah.
As far as look around goes, as Commander-in-Chief mentioned, Roy Hudson will be on to talk about his candidacy for Army of Tennessee Councilman. On the 11th will be Commander's comments. On the 18th, I will be on to talk about my candidacy for AOT Councilman. And we have a very lucky lineup of things to where on the last Thursday of the month, 425, we will be. What's significant about 425, J-Beau?
Wow. I think there was a fella by the name of Stephen D. Lee who happened to say a few words in a speech down in New Orleans. And I think that is where our charge came from.
Well, that too, but also it was kind of the day SCV Chat was somewhat born. I was going to go with that. But yeah, we're going to be celebrating Charge Day because of the live stream we did on Charge Day at his gravesite. I kind of count that as the day we were conceived, not necessarily the day we were born.
Well, wasn't that the case? Wasn't it me, you, Carl Jones, there?
Yeah. Forrest, Jeff Barnes, Randy Jackson.
Yes.
Jackson made it, and Stan Rhoda.
Yes.
In the height of COVID-19, we were not going to let government shutdowns keep us from honoring our ancestors, and 11,000 people worldwide eventually saw that service, and a couple months later, SCV Chat was born. So
yes,
we're going to.
That was actually a very good deal. It's very humbling to be standing there at the grave of Stephen D. Lee and actually talk about those words and what those words actually meant. And they think that or a lot of people just seem to think that that's where the charge came from, and it did for us. But his speech talked about the daughters. It talked about the people of the Southland. And then in essence, he was beginning to turn everything over to the children of the Confederates, the males and the females. And it was when you read the speech, he's a very wise man, and he did a fantastic job.
And of course we want, if you're available on 425, we want you to come on and talk about the charge with us. I think it's very, very important that we take some time and reflect upon those words.
No, I agree as well, and I would truly be honored to be able to come on and do that. That's on Thursday night. On Friday night, we start the Tennessee Division reunion, and that'll be happening that weekend. So I would, I would be honored to be able to come on 425 and say a few words, or at least repeat his words.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta send my. That happens to be the same weekend as the Confederate Memorial Service at Beauvoir, and I'll be there. I hate I can't make it to y'all's reunion. I gotta send a letter up there via somebody to be read if somebody will.
Okay.
I was waiting for it. Here it is. There it is. Calvin Hart says that Carl's so ugly that his birth certificate is an apology letter.
Okay.
There it is. There it is.
We have to wait around now and see if Mr. Carl's going to respond. Oh, and he did.
Well, Carl did say that, speaking about the service that we did at General Lee's grave, that it was one of the most important 5-hour round trips he ever made.
Yeah.
It was definitely. I mean, I got goosebumps even when I was on the way up to headquarters for the GEC meeting, and I stopped there at his grave. I got goosebumps there, and that's, it was weirdly enough, on my birthday, but standing out there, talking about the charge right beside the man who gave it in the bust with his UCV lapel pin on there, the same bust that's still on Mississippi State campus. That was very, very goosebumps.
It is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's humbling to walk through that cemetery and just see those rows of Confederates.
Mm-hmm.
And there he is. Yes.
It's a wonderful place that gets me every time. We'll also have a couple of hidden treats throughout April for y'all. So again, we hope you check our website, our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We got a lot of stuff. One video that will be posted tomorrow is a video starring our Commander-in-Chief. That one you filmed?
Oh, the one at the service this past weekend that John Blankenship.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
We shared it out there.
Sir?
We shared the video, the link to the video out there.
Yes, out there on YouTube. It's that's at the gravesite of Lyndon Carter Hayes. And it just, to be standing there amongst men like that, and to know what they sacrificed and what they went through. He himself did not fight, but his children did, and he was a senator during all of that, and even after. And it's knowing what he came through, being in East Tennessee, which was heavy federal. Person by the name of Parson Brownlow kept everything stirred up pretty good up there during that time. And to actually have somebody that was Confederate minded during that time up there, yes, he definitely went through a lot. And yes, and I was honored to be there. And I was honored that the Tipton camp, raised the money to get him a marker and put him a headstone down.
That was
I'm really
phenomenal.
glad that they included the information about his wife too.
Yes. Yes.
So, question for you.
I'll try to answer.
Why can't the charge day be a holiday like Confederate Flag Day?
Wow, it is odd that you should ask that because I know you don't know this. I have a proclamation written up making April Confederate History Month. Mm-hmm. And I have picked the 25th as making that the National Charge Day in that proclamation. Now, the proclamation has not gone out. It will be going out on the Telegraph on Wednesday, and I'm going to tell you why. When we go and we put stuff out there on the Telegraph, and it's, day after day after day, we end up with a lot of people unsubscribing and sending it on, and then somebody unsubscribes there, and that unsubscribes the people there that sent it. So we've developed a philosophy where we don't send stuff out back to back to back. Mm-hmm. And today, as we know, was the fire sale for life memberships. And of course, there was something that come out on the Telegraph concerning that. So it will be going out Wednesday morning, and it is a proclamation making April Confederate History Month and asking everybody to do something. Do something, Confederate. Asking all people of the Southland, just like Stephen D. Lee did. And on April 25th, I have that as National Charge Day. So I hope that's all right, because that's what's going out Wednesday morning.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah. And I know you don't know that because I just wrote it today.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Great minds. Great minds.
Yeah. It needs to happen. That was just one of those things that when we had the life membership thing going on, I was up there at HQ. I had to make a few phone calls after it was over with. Some people had called me, and I was calling them back. And I was actually sitting out by Jefferson Davis. As you know, where we have the Jefferson Davis Memorial Garden, I was sitting out there on one of the benches. Actually, to be quite honest, I was sitting on Herman White's bench that he has for his wife and Shirley. And I was sitting there, and you can, the museum's just off to the left, and you have, I really like sitting on that bench. Well, for one thing, it's Uncle Herman, and Miss Shirley. But to be sitting there and you have Jeff Davis right there in front of you, you have Robert E. Lee just off to your left a little bit, and there's the home, Elm Springs, straight ahead. And I was just sitting there, finished with one of the conversations, and I was just sitting there thinking, well, I need to get home and I need to write this. And it just kind of come to me, that when I was on one of the conversations, one of the members said something about he wanted to do his life membership, and he wanted to do more than that. And he has developed a fondness for the charge, and he started repeating some of the charge to me while I was going through all of this. And I just happened to think about that, and I go, why can't we have April 25th as the charge day? So some people say it was April 26th. Some people say April 25th. I just picked April 25th.
A while, but I left it out in the car. I think the reason why we do the 25th is because of that's what's printed on the membership card. But it doesn't matter. He said it, and not to give you a preview of the 25th, but the charge is not only our mission statement, but it's what changed us as an organization itself from being a genealogical society to a veterans rights organization. Because everything that he tells us to do in that charge is the same thing that other veterans rights organizations do.
Yeah.
And we don't play on that enough. Because to me, there's no different. The only difference is the veterans that we honor versus like the American Legion or the VFW ours are past. Ours are all past.
Yeah.
But that's we don't want to give too much away for April 25th.
Yeah. This one gentleman that I was talking to, he kept repeating the word commit. We will commit the vindication of the cause. We will commit. We will commit. And it's, and he got to talking about how he is going to commit himself every day and recommit himself every day to the cause.
Well, and that's the other thing I love about the social media push we've been doing here this past week, going through and looking at camps and seeing what they're doing. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek on what you'll see tomorrow at 3:00. There is a compatriot. I won't say where he's from, but today he drove 7.5 hours across. Well, let me pull up a map of the United States. These United States.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
But him getting hung up on commit, and he just kept saying commit. We need to commit ourselves. And, I just had that in my head because he wasn't the last phone call I took. He was probably the third from the last. And I just still had that in my head. And it just, and I'll just be honest with you. I get a whole lot of inspiration from our own members.
Mm-hmm.
Our own members and what they do. It's motivation to me. And he motivated me. Just saying commit.
Well, this one that you'll see tomorrow at 3:00 on the chat page. drove 7.5 hours one way just to make sure that his Confederate ancestor he joined the SCV under had a fresh battle flag on his grave for April.
That's fantastic.
See, that's committing.
Mm-hmm.
That is committing, and that's motivational to me.
Yeah.
You know, what can I do today? And that was the attitude of this man who was called in to get his life members, and it inspired me. It did. So, and now we have a member who drive 7.5 hours one way. Wow.
Wow.
Yes. Wow is definitely it. And he did it for his ancestor.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's the essence of it, because it was not about him. It was not about him and the 15-hour round trip. It was not about him and the gas he was going to use. It was about his ancestor. And that is the strength of this organization, is when we realize that it is not about us, that it is about them. And, you know, I've talked about it in my articles, the thing that is going around, or has always been around, I am more Confederate than you. And you realize that you will never be as Confederate as they are. And this organization exists because of them. And we have this wonderful birthright that, you know, it's not a right to join our organization, it is a birthright. It was earned by your Confederate ancestor, and it has been passed along to you and given to you as a gift. This was his gift to you. And this gentleman drove 7.5 hours because of the gift that he had been given. And that is humbling, and that is motivational. And I thank him for doing that.
Oh,
So,
especially where tomorrow, when y'all see where this compatriot is from, at 3:00, check our page. Like I said, he didn't do it for himself. I just happened to be scrolling through, and I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I saw that, and I messaged him and said, "How long was that trip?" And he told me, and I said, "Well, we're going to share your story tomorrow in chat on the Facebook page, so y'all be looking out for that." And I think Jason Lloyd hits the nail on the head, and a good way for us to end the serious portion, go into one more joke, and then wrap it up. Robert E. Lee said it best: duty is the sublimest word in our language. Do your duty in all things. You cannot do more, and you should never do less.
yes.
Amen.
Well said. Well said.
And then Carl said, Calvin Hart is so ugly, his mama used to stomp his face in dough to make gorilla cookies.
Okay.
April Fools, everybody.
Yeah.
And now you know, and now you know, well, we have had the usual bit of shenanigans.
Yeah. But hey, for especially to Pam Maddox and Alan Lawrence, you two folks who have joined our Patreon, thank y'all so much. Y'all did that within this episode. Reminder that everybody can go to patreon.com/SCV_chat, or check our page for that link. We appreciate everybody who does that, or the website, scvchat.com. Moose will be back on Thursday for Look Around the Confederation with Roy Hudson, his candidacy for AOT councilman. Excuse me, my Arby's is coming off on me a little bit. Remember that if you have a story that you would like to see on Look Around the Confederation, please email your pictures and write up to scvyouthOutreach@gmail.com to be featured. Please have the news submitted before 3 p.m. Confederate Daylight Time Thursday to ensure we can get it into the episode. Also, reminder tomorrow, tune in to Look Around Florida with Sean McFall. That's on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 7 p.m. here in the CDT. If your camp is looking for a new flag or your reenacting group is looking for a new flag, remember to check out our friends at Southern Flags and Quilts. Historical authenticity at a reasonable price. Email southernflagsandquilts@yahoo.com or visit their Facebook, facebook.com/sewingbysusan. We actually have a chat flag from them so that we haven't been able to bring on. You got anything you want to leave us with, Moose?
I do not, other than thank you guys for watching. And remember, no Fumar in the elevator.
You know who said that?
Harrold Filpots himself.
Mm-hmm. Commander-in-Chief, thank you for coming on and joking with us tonight and everything that you've done for this organization. We look forward to having you back on April the 25th. Remember to share and like this episode out. And now we're going to roll our credits.